Good evening. My name is Nick Sturgeon, President of the Speedway Town Council. It is August 20th, 2025 at 5:30. We're here for night 2 of our departmental budget meetings. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to Grant.
Okay, great. So this evening we do have police, fire, cable, and redevelopment commission, but we also have the 3 extra town entities, the library, the transportation board, and Speedway schools. So we'll go through those this evening. We've got a PowerPoint again also made. I will not cover the first 3 slides. These will be available on the website if you would like to download them. I did put them up there just in case we had to refer back to them. The first slide is just kind of a summary snapshot of the entire budget as proposed. The next page is that graphically, and then that third page is the assumptions that we used in creating that budget. I always feel like that's an important thing to help everyone understand, because while this isn't a science, it's more of an art, we do go about it somewhat systematically with some starting points to try to determine where we need to be. So this evening, the police department, we do have Chief Upchurch here with us. I'll do the same. I'll kind of report the major elements, and then you can ask Chief any number of questions that you would like to ask him. We also, after the numbers, have their accomplishments and goals in your PowerPoint. Once again, that will be on the website and used in a press release probably in a week or so, 2 weeks maybe, kind of a mid-year report to the community. So this year, the police department, their proposed budget is $5,763,609, which is a 4.25% decrease, or $255,768. Now, don't sit there and go, oh, what's going on? We have shifted more burden from the general fund onto the public safety lit, local option income tax. That number that the police is using is at the bottom of the presentation, or in the public safety police department bar, it's $1,797,424. We did get extra shares this year, so that revenue source grew, and we felt like, and Philip and I discussing with some of the revenue concerns, we shifted a little bit more money over to that public safety lit. So if you want to know the full cost of running the police department, you're going to have to add that top number, which is the general fund, with that bottom number, which is the public safety lit. So that's about $7.5 million budget to run our department. That means, we have 8 telecommunicators, plus 10 plus a supervisor. We have
that includes the supervisor, yes.
Brandon.
Yes.
35 road officers.
1 school resource officer, so 36 merit officers, yes.
So when you have that many officers, and it's great that we have that many, we've added, I think, 3 over the past 4 years, if I'm remembering correctly.
Not the last 4 years, probably with the last 5 years.
5.
We have, yes.
So we have added more boots to the ground. We want to make sure that we are a safe community. That is one of our highest priorities. Remember that budget documents and budgets are an expression of priorities and vision for the community. Some of the major adjustments, and what I've done here on the right side of the PowerPoint, we kind of broke down. I do this for the fire and the police every year because the amounts are so large, but the increases in the police department are kind of situated to the right, $359,000 over last year in essence. A lot of that is in salaries and benefits. As you know, we did negotiate a contract with the police, and that captures a majority of that. The remainder of $47,000 is some new equipment, bulletproof vests, tasers, some other things that I'll highlight here in just a moment. We also are proposing adding an additional sergeant's position. We have discussed this with the council through emails and a couple of other, but we wanted to include that in the budget. That is being included because of some of the planned turnover that we have over the next 6 to 9 months with some officers and staff retiring. We felt like having that extra sergeant would help with that situation. We do have $36,000, which is an existing contract for our Flock license plate reader cameras. Those are spread out around town, but that's kind of that maintenance cost. And you heard, Chief, before the meeting started, we did have one of those hit in May. If I'm not mistaken, Chief, that means they replaced that.
We have a minimal cost.
A minimal cost,
Yes.
but a majority of it
Right,
is
right.
covered under the maintenance. We are proposing a new 5-year contract for body cameras. That's $68,000. Taser replacement of our 20-year-old tasers. That's about $35,000. That'll be a 5-year contract,
Yeah.
kind of a maintenance contract as well. We have to train on those. We have to certify on those. It's not something
Every
we
year,
use
yes.
willy-nilly,
Yes.
but it is an important tool in our officers' hands when necessary. Vests, we have also got our SWAT vests for about $11,000, $10,700. And then we do have some general increases in repairs and maintenance costs. $13,000 from the general fund and about $8,000 increase to the public safety lit. Some of that is taking into account just equipment, and things are more costly. I think some of that also will take into account additional repairs potentially to the vehicles that we are not going to rotate this year, but defer for a year into the future. Once again, in an attempt to minimize the negative impacts of Senate Bill 1 that we've already discussed. The other reductions, we did reduce gasoline based on the amount that we have been using and the prices. We did decide to reduce that a little bit. Now, if we all of a sudden get $4 gasoline, we may have to come back to you, but that's the dangers with budgeting. You try to be reasonable, but if something happens, like the cost of oil goes up, we're going to pay more in gas, and we may have to, but we're confident that that generally will cover what is needed. We also reduced some employer benefits because we found some that were kind of double counted and removed those. And then the bottom final note is that amount that is captured in the public safety lit for the police department of $1,797,000. I've said it before, I'll say it again here because I think it bears repeating. Keeping our police department competitive and strong is a priority. The same with our fire. Public safety is a big part of who we are. As you know, we could not do the 500 or the Brickyard without our officers and the help of other agencies, but it's a cost that we have to incur, and we see it as a benefit. We want to be separate from Indianapolis, and I think our police force helps us do that. There is also the Law Enforcement Education Fund, or LEACHI Fund. You can see we're spending about $67,710. That is no increase over last year's budgeted amount. And then the public safety lit that I've already mentioned, the 1.797, that's about a 56% increase, or $649,000. We are overspending that public safety lit by a little bit, but not an inordinate amount. So we're doing that hopefully to try to stave off some of the other difficulties that we're having with that revenue. I think we're in good shape, but that fund has a large balance. Having a balance in that fund, though, is important because we have discussed either outright paying for the new ladder truck that the council kind of already gave approval for and we have ordered, or paying a portion and financing some of that. We haven't necessarily decided exactly what that's going to look like because we won't get the thing for a couple more years. So but I know that question was asked today, having that balance allows us that flexibility. And if you can pay off a $1.5 million piece of equipment, you don't have to budget for it every year, nor do you have to pay a couple $100,000 worth of interest cost. And I think that always makes sense if we have the monies available. So with that, any questions for Chief or anything that you wanted to point out that I didn't necessarily focus on?
I think you covered all of it.
So from salaries, because we know we're getting ready to go back into another negotiation, IMPD's got their contract. Do you see any other agencies around the area that's going to potentially
Yeah, that's
have an
been the,
increase?
I would say that's been the answer from most departments trying to recruit. I think talking to other police chiefs, it helps, but it's not the final answer in terms of trying to get folks to go into the police service. I think a lot of that's generational. I think we have folks today that they don't want to work nights and weekends and holidays and be away from their families, and they're used to working at home, and we just don't have folks going into the police service. We used to have folks that when we'd have an open position, probably 5 or 6 years ago, we'd have 150 applicants. Now we're lucky if we're getting like 25 or 30 when we're trying to do a process. So, and it's just not us, it's everywhere. I mean, IMPD, they're struggling to, even with the contract that they have, they're struggling trying to get applicants. We all are. We're stealing from one another. And I think we all hoped that the money was going to be the answer, but I don't know that the money is the complete answer. I mean, it helps, but it's not the answer just to bring more people into the field. So
It's a tough job. I mean, it is. Having to tell people,
yes.
you can't do this is
Yes.
never easy, so.
But it becomes a little bit of a rat race when one agency increases
Yes.
significantly, then
Yes.
we've got to
yes.
React.
to it. So
Yes.
if there's another agency or couple agencies that are going to
You
be
know.
in contract negotiations, I
Right.
think that would help, just kind of see where they're at.
I think probably the Hamilton County departments are always going to be the departments that we're going to compete with now. I mean, you're talking, they have growth, they have the best equipment, they have the ability to increase a tax base, and I think that's where we're going to see a lot of our people, and we're going to get more competition from the Hamilton County departments. So,
And keep in mind, in the general fund, in the town manager budget, I did put $10,000 to potentially do a compensation analysis specifically for fire and police. I think we can do an informal one, but I think having a professional assist us with that will hopefully give us better results that will put us in a greater comfort level about where we are in the market.
And just thinking from a other recruitment benefit standpoint, I mean, are officers getting, have enough opportunity for different types of training and specialties and things that maybe help add some additional reasons to want to stay?
we will always struggle with that because we don't offer the same opportunities that IMPD does in terms of different specialty areas. I mean, all of our officers have multiple jobs on the department. We have officers that are SWAT team members. We have officers that operate drones. We have officers that are FTOs, instructors. Probably every officer in the department has at least 2 roles on the department. So we offer a lot more from the standpoint we have a motorcycle division. We do have a SWAT team. I think that does encourage officers to come here, and it keeps their interest. We always struggle with promotional opportunities, just from the standpoint that especially if officers are promoted early in their career, we may not have an opening that's a promotional opening for 2 or 3 years. We've gone spells where we've gone almost 5 years when we didn't have, we're a victim of our own success because we don't lose a lot of officers when they come here. They come and they stay, and every once in a while we may lose one to a federal agency. We have lost a couple recently. One went to IMPD because his grandfather, and that's where he worked, and he wanted to go there. But we traditionally don't lose a lot of officers. They'll spend most of their career here, if not all their career here. So
I would think, too, having IMS in our backyard is somewhat of a draw, I guess.
it is. We just have to explain to everyone when they come here, it's like, we hope you don't enjoy the month of May. So, because you're going to get a different angle in the month of May. So if you really enjoyed the race, you'll get to see some of it, but you're not going to get to go enjoy
Yeah,
it.
that's a good
So
point.
Do you anticipate anybody retiring in '26?
we do. Deputy Chief Alexander, he is, I believe he's ready to go probably in August of next year. So Sam just completed 32 years with the department, and his wife's already retired, so I believe Sam's ready to go enjoy that life too. So
And
it's
then
going to be hard to replace Sam.
Then
Very
Jim
hard.
Teely is retiring
Keely is
October this year.
he's retiring here October. Jim's got 25 years on the department. So most of our folks are, like I said, I mean, they're in the 25, 30-year range when they leave. So, which is pretty much unheard of in any industry or any career anymore, where you get folks that stay that long in one place. So we'll miss both of them.
Yeah, for sure.
The final thing that I didn't really mention, but remember, code enforcement and building commissioner is included in this budget. I think the best thing we did a year ago was add the part-time code enforcement
Yes.
officer. We call them the Johns. It's John Merritt, John Deal, and J.R. John Reichley.
You can't apply unless your first name
Right,
is John.
yeah,
We just
but-
won't accept it anymore.
You know, John Deal is working evenings and on the weekend. I know a couple of you have received calls, why are they doing that on the weekend? Well, it was something we strategically decided, having someone out there after hours, not to catch anybody, but to identify issues and then correct them. But I think they've done a great job. They have a good vision for what they're trying to do. They have good goals and objectives and are, I think, making a significant difference.
So where are we at with looking at revising our building code and all of how we're doing that?
As a matter of fact, we had our building commissioner, John Merritt, make suggestions on fees. Actually, those fees have not changed since 2012. So I believe we may be behind the times on some of our fees for permitting fees. So, and I don't know, I believe you may have this. We
Yeah,
prepared
I
this.
didn't necessarily
So,
provide
yeah.
it
And I
this
can
time.
send it out to everyone and let you review that. But it's not a huge increase, but these are suggestions by John that he thinks would bring us in line with other communities in terms of what their fees they're charging and they're permitting.
We do have an RFP for that process written. We've just not gotten to the point where I think we need to do it fairly soon so that we can get someone retained by the end of the year and potentially encumbered some money that I've got in my budget for this year. It's just, we've had a lot of other things.
Yeah, I will say, just personally going through this process now, I think there's definitely some modernization and efficiencies, improvements that can be made to make it more effective for the homeowners, for our businesses, and for the staff, for being able to, be more efficient with their time and more effective as well, so.
We'll definitely get that out here in the next month or so.
I had a quick question. Can you, again, you touched on this a little bit earlier, but can you talk about, just real quickly, how the public safety lit is, why that's separated from the general fund? That's one part. And then the other part, just talk a little bit about that increase. What does that entail for the public safety lit?
So we've tracked it through a budget since it's been adopted. In other communities I've been at, it's just made a part of the general fund, and that shows up in those. And maybe we should consider doing that. I don't know if there's a law or requirement that has to be separate, but the increase that we are getting is because, maybe Philip should address that. I know that they've reviewed certified shares and given more money to us.
So the local income tax, which is what the LIT stands for, is really handled by the county. And so the city controller provides us an update each year. This year, I think in anticipation of some of the changes that are coming down the line in like 2027, they went ahead and are suggesting to the city county council adopt a change in how the local income tax is distributed. So you've got three buckets. You've got the levy-free shares, certified shares, and then the public safety shares. And they're recommendation that they are hoping the City County Council will adopt downtown is to shift more of that to the public safety shares. So we've accounted for that as our most likely guess of what's going to happen.
I don't know if that answers your question,
Yeah, no, it
Jason.
does. I just thought it'd be worth having a little conversation why those are broken apart.
Sure.
Why we see the
Yeah.
increase in numbers there. So, yeah, that works. Thank you.
And over the years, we have moved expenses in and moved expenses out depending on what the general fund is doing. Because our revenue numbers are not the same every year. It goes up and down. It just depends on the year.
I had a question. I know I kind of had asked Nick this, knowing his background in police, but I guess it just had never really come to mind that all the work that you guys do at the track, and there's, correct me if I'm wrong, zero compensation for that. I just,
Other than property tax that is paid
like every other business.
like every other business.
Okay,
Yes.
so you're working
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah.
Which just is mind-boggling to me with the amount of effort and energy that we are giving to a business that is making millions, and we're not receiving a dime. I guess I've never really had that realization until I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
And that's always been that way, that is the way it's always going
Since
to
I've been
be?
here,
And,
yes.
or, I guess I just don't know the history of that and to understand, I'm thinking, I was at the park, the Indy West Arts Music Festival, and Tammy said, yeah, I got budgeted for 2 officers to be here for security, and I'm thinking, the track's getting what they're getting for free, and we had to pay 2 officers to be there. It just doesn't make sense in my mind. So, I don't know if it's a question, but
And it's just
how
not
that-
us. It's,
I know.
IMPD, the state police, and I know our previous chief, the way it was explained, they viewed it in terms of the tax dollars that are brought in from the event, and they enjoy the tax dollars that come in from all the fans, and so there has never been a charge to the motor speedway, I believe, from any law enforcement agency or any of the other agencies, that first responders that work there.
Just keep
I was going to say,
AMR maybe.
we
AMR.
as a town do not see benefit from the taxes
Food
from
and
that.
beverage,
Yep.
we don't
Right.
get any hotel motel.
So we're not seeing that.
Yeah, and I know their
In our-
vendors, a lot of them have been moved inside the track, so we don't get as much permit revenue as we say used to. That has happened over the years, but you are 100%
Okay.
correct, Sarah,
Okay.
that
You're correct. Yes.
there's a big expense, and it's not just our police department, it's our fire
No, too,
department,
both,
Police,
our
yeah.
streets,
Yeah.
our code enforcement, building commissioner,
Yeah.
they all have a huge role
Yeah.
in the month of May, and we don't charge anything
Yeah.
for that.
Okay.
And I think that's something we have discussed internally.
Yeah.
How do we change that or make recommendations to either the State House
Yeah.
or to IMLS themselves
Yeah.
that we need potentially some help here?
Absolutely. Yeah, to keep, like we said, our compensation fair and,
Yeah.
while you're over there doing
Right.
that, what about our town that we've paid
Right.
for? Our residents, so.
We have overtime costs for the weekend,
Exactly,
So-
that we're paying for.
are substantial.
Yeah.
So, for the whole
Yeah.
month,
Yeah.
for qualification, carb day.
It's not
all
just
race
one
weekend.
Yeah.
one race, it's 2 or 3
Multiple.
weeks of stuff,
Yes.
which we're grateful for. That does drive our local economy. We understand
Right.
that. But yes, we don't necessarily get
See that
anything
on-
above and beyond. We
Yeah,
don't see that on the budget.
Yeah, okay.
The food and beverage is very hard for me to stomach. When I've worked in other communities, we've received that, and we don't get any of that.
Yeah, that's a big sticking point for me, that it's all going to CIB
Yep.
to pay for Lucas Oil and some other things that CIB is doing.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. Don't know that we have a
Okay.
great answer.
That's
but-
okay.
All right, Chief, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
I think you're off the hot seat now.
Very quick and painless. Thank you. I hope it goes quick for you all. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks.
Just slide right there. So next up is the Speedway Public Library. The Director, Darcy, is here this evening. Thanks for your effort to be here. And I'm sorry I cannot I
all right.
cannot remember.
Rob Barr with Baker Tilly.
There you go. Your financial advisor.
That's
So,
right.
so Darcy, go ahead and take it away.
Our 2026 budget is built on the growth quotient of 4% with the additional percentage to make it 12% to cover our projected payment for our first year of our loan. We plan to get a loan. It's finally time to get a new heating and air conditioning system. It is old. It was put in 91, but it was an addition to the 68 model. So it's an older system. It is breaking frequently. We pay $15,000 to $30,000 a year in repairs. We've been saving for years to come up with the money to have a new system. But unfortunately, we saved $1 million, which took us a long time to do, but we did not anticipate the cost. Thanks to Grant, we know we have Alliance Engineering helping us. They've created the specs, and they've created the bid that's out now, and they think it will cost $1.2 million to $1.5 million to replace. So our board decided to take $500,000 of that to put towards the HVAC, and then put the rest saving for other contingencies, and then to get a loan. And with that additional percentage, we could pay off the first year, and then like we've been doing, saving and hopefully not having repairs, and saving for additional payments in the future. That way we don't have to have a bond, we don't have to have additional taxes to the public, and we can still have library services go on as they are now.
She's being very kind. All I did was give her a couple of names and numbers. So she did all the work. She just asked me if I knew anyone, and so,
That helped.
yeah. I'm glad it worked out.
No, it's good to hear. Thank you for doing that legwork and getting that thing squared away. I know it's been a troublesome thing over a period of time.
Yeah, it'll be good to have a smooth running system for both the public and the collection.
Right, right. Do you see any other needs that currently that you're planning for in the future?
Well, I think once we go through this system, and we do that, we've paid for the roof this way, we paid for the carpet this way, so we'll hopefully get that done, get that paid for, and then we'll start saving for the roof again. It's time for another rubber Band-Aid on the top of our flat roof, so
Right.
that's the way it goes.
That's
You
always
have to save
a
for
challenge.
something.
Yeah, right.
How have you guys been doing with staff retention and
We've been really fortunate, thanks to the way we've been budgeting. We were able to keep staff at a level that is for our size for the state, so they know that they're working well. Our staff is smaller, so they have to do more. They just don't check in, check out. They all have multiple jobs. So they're at a little higher level than just a beginning level clerk, but they all work hard and make the money that is standard for that position in the state. And they're a great staff, they really are.
good?
What kind of, do you guys count any, as far as number of citizens taking advantage of the library? Have you seen, is that pretty constant over the years, or the?
Yeah, I think it goes ups and downs. I mean, in the summer, we promote it high and have summer reading, and we have more people in. I think our least numbers in December, everybody has something else to do in December. But yeah, they've been consistent. We took a big hit, of course, in COVID, and it
Right.
took a while to climb back. I think we've discovered that we have a lot of e-readers that never come in the library during COVID, and that's nice to know. We did a big database clean out in 19, and then in 20, that didn't count in our system as someone using our system. So when they all called in 2020 and said, I need to use my card, we had to renew them all. So it's good. We have a real database of e-reader people who
Right.
use Libby and
Good.
our online services.
Glad to hear that.
One other comment I would have for Darcy, thank you for sponsoring the foam cannon at our upcoming Community Day.
Yeah.
That's a hit.
I don't know how we convinced the library to do that. I would have thought they would have been throwing books at the kids or something, but people love it.
Children's librarian has great ideas.
Yeah.
She knew the person who does the phone canon is the wife of one of our other performers.
Okay.
And she made that connection and said, oh, a phone canon, let's do that. So,
The kids love it. So
Yeah.
we've done it 2 years now, I think. This will be the third.
Yeah.
The only problem is they come over and they want ice cream, and they've got suds all over them. And I have to remind them, please don't touch anything. I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, so. But thank you for sponsoring that. I know that's a great partnership. That Community Day is Thursday, September 11th, so that's coming up in about, 2 weeks from tomorrow? Or 3 weeks? 3 weeks from tomorrow.
And I just heard from my staff, they're going to be, even though I can't participate this year, they're going to be participating in the parade. We'll have our book cart drill team out again.
Okay.
They're working on choreography today, they told me.
Wasn't as hot today, that's smart.
Yeah. Any other questions for Darcy? Okay.
Yeah, good.
Well, thank you. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. And
Yeah.
just so you know, I know we present to the council on September the 8th. And then I think our public hearing is the next meeting, the 22nd. And that's when the budget would be adopted and entered into the gateway in October and ahead of the schedule. So
Fabulous. And thank you, Philip, for doing that. I know that's something we have to hand off to you, so I appreciate that.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And recover quickly.
Thank you. Well, I'm getting there.
Need you back on the choreography team.
And thanks to your sister for coming and helping you be here. All right, so next up is Public Transportation Board, Dean Butts, who is their treasurer. Dean?
Hello. How are you all?
Hey, Dean.
Hi. All right, so this year, we don't have a lot of changes from our budget from last year. Probably the largest difference is in our income. So this year, we received a little more than $398,000 in property tax. And next year, our estimate right now is $345,000. So that's dropping, almost $45,000. So as I was researching that, I determined it is due to our 1%, 2%, and 3% circuit breakers that Marion County calculates out. So our total levy is actually going up, but then the total circuit breakers are actually going down, or going up more, causing our total income to go down. So that's really our biggest change. Everything else is pretty much staying the same. Our Indigo contract will remain the same at $264,996. And then we publish our notices, our financial notices in Indy Star and Indianapolis Business Journal annually. We got a bond that I have to renew every year. And then our capital, we are going to keep it at $150,000, which is the same that we set for last year. We did not bite into that this year. We did not find a project that really fit our needs. So we are looking at a couple of projects to potentially take over next year. We've not really, we don't really have anything specific yet, but it's been 2 years, I think, since we actually did a sidewalk job. So we're going to dive in and hopefully get a sidewalk job done next year. And then our equipment, which is really our radar signs that we've been bought and installed. Typically, we have done 34,000, which would account for 4 new signs and installs. Next year, we're only going to plan to install two 2 new ones. We're not sure where yet. We had considered Main Street, but that eventually got shot down, so that probably won't be where they go. The 2 we put up this year ended up going on 16th Street by the track. One going in front of the gas station as you're heading east, and then down closer to the golf course as you're heading west. So we dropped that expense down to $30,000 because we want to. We've never had to do any sort of maintenance on those, and we're not sure if they get damaged or if we have to replace something on them. We're not sure what those costs are going to be. So we dropped that down to $30,000 just so we can account for 2 new signs next year, and then potentially any maintenance that need to be done on the current signs.
So, council, keep in mind that their funding source requires them to spend their money in and around areas where there are bus stops or areas that are affected by bus stops. That's how they've justified the speed control signs, the sidewalk repairs. We've always done those between connecting stops, and they've done a lot of good. We did 10th Street and Moeller Road last year, almost 2 years ago now.
Yep.
And then prior to that, they had done over by Brixmore and the license. I'm drawing a blank on the name of that road now. Isn't that terrible?
What, Wilco?
Yeah.
Wilco?
Polko,
Lane?
yeah. I don't know why I was thinking Polko, and that's not right.
No.
So, but it's been nice, and then they did some work also on 25th Street a couple of years ago, up against High School Road. That will benefit us because remember, Rob mentioned the other night, we don't have to replace those sidewalks because they're in very good shape. That will reduce our cost. We think that's going to be $800,000 to $1 million to get the remainder of that road overlaid. So wanted to thank the Transportation Board for their work and
Yeah, I mean, it has been a big impact. I think it gets projects done that, might take a little bit longer to do. I just wish that we could get a radar sign that issues tickets.
That'd be nice.
Especially for 20 miles an hour over speed limit, from that of it, but.
Maybe if the state legislature would change some laws that we could then do that.
Yeah, that's true. But, no, it's absolutely helped enforce public safety and at least making people aware what's going on. And then the sidewalks are definitely, I think especially as much foot traffic as we have during race season. And now we got a lot of people out walking around in the summertime and providing them with secure and easy places to, stay safe out of the roadways. It'd make a big difference.
Yeah, certainly.
Dean, I think I remember last year, you guys talked about maybe adding benches to bus stops or seats or something, but what happened with that, or what was kind of the overall?
We've discussed it. Ultimately, I think we chose not to move forward with that. Not all the concern, I mean, I don't have all the same concerns as the board does necessarily, obviously, but some of the concerns were upkeep on those. We put them in and then we have to maintain them. We got to make sure that nothing happens to them, right? So ultimately, we decided against that and decided to try to focus on sidewalks versus updating bus stops.
Yeah, just trying to get people safely to the bus stops and from,
Yeah, because there's obviously certainly a lot of areas still in Speedway where if you were, let's say in a wheelchair, it would be very tough for you to get to a bus stop today. So I think that has kind of been their main focus the past few years. And I think that probably is going to continue to be our focus going forward.
Yeah, I think that's a good priority.
All right.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Dean. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you all. Appreciate it.
And just a reminder, Dean is a newer member on the board. I think it's been 2 years now,
Yes,
right?
this is my second year.
Second year.
Yep.
I hope he doesn't quit. But, Bev used to handle the treasurer role, and she has stepped back, and we've appreciated Dean. I know Philip's worked with him more than I have, but appreciate that effort, so thank you.
Yeah, and Phil, thanks for all your help. Appreciate it.
I see Ron's here now.
Thanks, Steve.
Since you already handled the
Ron's
job.
on the,
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank
you, Dean.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think we were a little bit ahead of schedule, Ron, so I Apologize. All right, so next up, we have Dr. Kyle Trebly with the Speedway Schools. The clock is ticking, Kyle.
Wait, we'll give you this buffer because we know how you like to talk.
Wow. Tough crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Tell them to cue it.
I'd go ahead and cue over
That would be great. That would be great, yeah.
anything in ACDC or if we can dim the lights, please.
And there is a binder, a separate binder there that was given to you guys, so with their budget included.
Yeah, we get a binder on this. We ready? All right. Thank you, council, for having me here, and for the 2026 budget for the school town of Speedway. I'll start with the first 30 to 60 seconds to tell you some new information that we just received yesterday, and we're sharing it out, creating our things now. But if you can look on this side, I bring props. Speedway High School is named the 4th best public school in the state of Indiana for last year's achievements, which is wonderful, which is great and fantastic. We are typically a top 10 school each and every year, with the change of everything that we go through, we always shoot for that. We shoot for excellence. We were number 1 a few years ago, but being in the top 10 is something that I want to make sure the community and you guys can see in your hand. You can take that home, put it on your refrigerator, wherever you'd like to put it, or hand it out. I have extras, and we'll make sure we keep handing this out. But as you can see, the schools that are around us that are in the top 10, we went ahead and put our EL rate, also our free and reduced rate and minority rate that we have, and those are predictors for schools around the state and the United States of America for what some of those predictors are on how you do in achievement. So if you see where I'm going with this, you can see what we deal with every single day and how we roll our sleeves up as teachers and a staff in this community that we continue to be a top school in the state. So this is all fine and dandy. If you're like, well, how many schools are there? 392 school corporations, and some school corporations have more than one high school, so start doing the math on that. And I am including private and charter, since if they are going, they as in whoever they are going to start comparing us to other schools, I'm going to compare back. And when I compare back with our demographics and our results for student achievement, there's only one answer to this, is that whatever Speedway did a long time ago to set up this foundation, they did it right, because we're still continuing this excellence. Now, this is our high school, and we talk a lot about the high school over and over again, because we've done quite well in the last 6, 7, 8 years. It is not possible without a great junior high, without a great elementaries either. So if you flip it over on the other side with the great, wonderful, talented Cheryl McElroy, who's sitting behind me, don't do that to me, as she made this. Now, you might need your reading glasses. We have so much information that, yeah, you got that, reading glasses. This is our results. We've already shared this out in our school board meetings and live, so you can go back and replay that and look exactly what this is. But for you guys, I wanted to bring you something tangible in your hands that you can see and look at. So I'm very, very proud of our English language arts scores from 3rd through 8th grade, and I'll be quick on this. As you can see in the top left-hand side, English language arts was 392 school corporations that were involved in this, and Speedway, or in our Speedway schools 3 through 8, finished 23rd out of 292 public. But if you add all the schools, there's 392, and we're right there with it. So we're top 30 in all schools in Indiana. Phenomenal in English language arts. Our math scores are, again, out of 392, we're sitting right around the top 30th. We're a 30th school in the state of Indiana for that. In public schools, we're 26, and that's what you're seeing there. There's two differences. Everyone compares apples to apples. Let me throw it at you right now for that. And one of the harder ones is kids that have passed the English language arts, math, and English, as we're the 26th out of all the public schools in the state. Marion County, we're number one across the board. Across the board. But we're to the point now, we compare ourselves to, other schools that are on page one, Zionsville, West Lafayette, Carmel, Westfield, Brownsburg, Hamlin Southeastern. That's the conversation we're having. We compete with them. So why I say all this, you're like, this is not the time and place for that. I can't talk about our budget without talking about the why. And the why is the budget that we've set for many, many years, before me, Ken Hull, and now for me, believe it or not, 7 years, is that it reflects what you see in the achievement. It's measurable, and it's from student achievement. So most of our money goes in the classroom, and we'll talk about the certain funds here, and I'll keep it brief here, because I have great news for everybody, and if anyone's listening, you're getting ready to have good information if you're a homeowner here in Speedway, at least on our side. The first one is the education fund, if you flip to page 1, and that is what it is. And people think, well, if you're doing this, that, and the other, you have all this money, why can't we just have, for example, a new door? You have all this, pay for the door. Well, the doors and the roofs and the teachers all come from different funds, and you have to understand, we are not able to just move money around like you do maybe in your household budget. We have line items that we set now for the next 6 months from now, as we do and we predict. As Philip said earlier on, we predict 6 months from now all the way to 18 months to get that whole year. So that's what we do like everybody else. And that's hard in school, because can anybody tell me how many kids will be in our enrollment for tomorrow? Tomorrow, let alone 6 months from now, and 18 months when we set the budget. So 2 days ago, we had 1,696 total students. Today, we have 1,694. And I would bet that we'll have over 1,700 by Friday. And by Monday, Tuesday, as Labor Day approaches, we're going to be at 1715, 1720. And I believe, because of past data and past practice, we'll be around 1760 to 1790 by October 1st, which is the official date that we have to lock in. So that education fund is driven by how many kids, how many noses are in seats. That's where it comes from. And you have to pay out to the teachers, anything in the education realm, my superintendent and some other people, that's where the money comes from. So for the teachers, whatever the number is for the kids is really the money we have for their salary, their benefits, for anything in the educational realm. If you flip back a few pages, there's a whole list of education fund of what we pay out of that. So I'm going to say a few things and move to the next. Of course, our teachers, and there's about 4 or 5 line items for that, because we talk about their benefits, supplies, all the things, all the special teachers, anything in the classroom. Just picture that. If there's a person in a classroom, it's coming out of the education fund. Student support, instructional support, special ed, curriculum director. There is admin, extracurricular activities. So that's where coaches' salaries come from. You can't just move things around and make things up. We have a contract all inside of the educational fund, of course, with our transfers. So since I've been here, that number has gone up because the student ADM number has gone up. Kids are from the State House. They give us a number what each kid in town of Speedway is worth. And then that's what we go for. You multiply that by how many kids you have. And voila, there's your teacher salaries, and there's your raise for the teachers. Or there's the decrease, and salaries have to go the other way. Luckily for me, for the last 7 years, we predict that we can do a small minimal raise for our teachers. I say minimal, there'll be a small raise. We're hoping to do it, but we're not there yet. We have to see how many kids we have before we can really lock and load on how many kids do we have and how much money's really coming in. The education fund is not driven by property taxes. At least we don't have a rate for that. So that doesn't matter where the rate is. Let's move to the next fund. I have the operations fund. That is a tax driven from property taxes. We get the money, 58.99% is from property taxes. And then there's a whole thing of other things that we can use that fund for the revenue coming in. We spend things out of the operations for everything for what it sounds like, the operations. So the light bill, the plumbing bill, the roof, the facilities, and the amount that we receive for that is $5,205,629. We have to budget on both sides for the revenue coming in and the expenditures going out. With prices today, it doesn't cover everything that we need to do. And like a lot of people's budgets for the school, we have to do a lot of transfers because in 2000, they've changed the game on us in 2008, 9, 10, and they've changed it again recently, right around 2020. They changed all the things in the school budget. But the one thing is for sure is that we transfer from one fund to the other to make everything balance because the State Board of Accounts requires us to do that. Now that's pretty in the weeds, but I just want to make sure people understand operations and the education, really the people inside the buildings, and the operations, the outside of the classroom and people. That rate, we advertise on the operations. Last year, we were at 3092.3092, so if you're at home, you want to jot that down. The actual on 2025 is 3070. We're going to advertise at 0.3083, and once the DLGF continues, they'll drop that rate down. We think it's predicted at 2989, which is a reduction for us in the operation fund. Assessed value came in where it did. We feel like we can drop it as promised. It's not a lot, but it's a reduction.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, next fund. The next one's the referendum, and we live and die off the referendum. That's why you have these results that you do. So the education fund cannot fund our staff inside the classroom for where they're at right now, their salary and the low numbers of students in their classroom. Speedway schools, as long as I've known and as long as I'm here, we believe in small class sizes with a great instructor in front of them, not just the instructor, great staff in front of them. Mm-hmm. And with this budget, we get these results, and it's because of the referendum. We're able to pay our teachers more than the people around us. We are going to be close to the highest paid first-year teacher coming out of college. That's important. A lot of schools around us used ESSER money to jack the number up, and they're in trouble now. We were always just play at level, a little more than most, but for Speedway, we believe our salaries for our teachers, we can compete with most anybody. Other superintendents have the right to bring in somebody, a specialty teacher, and pay them more. And now it's almost in negotiation games with a chemistry teacher, a statistics teacher, a certain teacher that's hard to come by. Well, they're all hard to come by, but in that specialty. But in general, the referendum keeps our class sizes low. They keep neighborhood schools. If that's important to the community, which I've heard loud and clear through referendum talks, neighborhood schools, small class sizes, get the best teacher you can find. And that's what this allows us to do. The rate, flip back to the rate page. After the AV came in, we thought we were going to have to maybe keep it the same or increase, but I'll say it loud and clear, we are reducing the referendum rate for our town. We always advertise up to 59 cents when you vote for it, and we try to keep that in mind, that we say we don't take exactly what we need. So we're going to advertise the referendum at 5234, and it'll come in. The referendum stays the same, locked in 5234, which is a reduction, small, but it is a small reduction from last year. So I got 2 reductions. That's good. I got 1 to go. The next fund let's talk about is the debt. And after the projects that you see, we'd like to remind people 92% of the people already hit the 1% cap for the game we were in a couple years ago, and that's why we did it. We felt like at that time, most residents of Speedway already hit that 1%. But the debt was, with the new AV, we're able to lower the debt. I believe that's 3 for 3. and the debt is 3359 this year. We're going to advertise 3287, which is a reduction, and that's where we'll land. So I know, small increment, it is small, but we're working on, like what Philip said, in 2027, the cliff's coming. We know it's coming. There's going to be a drop off. This year, our AV came in kind of a surprise, but we still understand that there's days coming down the road here. So overall, the rainy day, we're using that for more projects to finish up our HVAC systems. You know, I think you've seen the 25th Street called the high school with project A, B, and C that's going on, but there's more projects to come. And that's not all as exciting as you can see the field house and the new football field, but we're working right now with the Allison $2 million for HVAC to redo that building. That needs to be done. So we have money, we've saved for it, and we're gonna use it. And we're gonna use it for our buildings, for our town, our kids. So overall, $1.17 was last year, which was still a bottom 2 in Marion County from the school side. My good friends over in Beech Grove, of course, you know, they're $3. I can go on and on about that. $1.17 is very low for the state of Indiana. We believe we're going to come in after the advertised, go to the predicted, will be $1.15. So we think we can drop it down a couple cents and still get results, still pay our bills, and see where we land with ADM for next year. But there's going to be some days coming, and we understand that. So this keeps us healthy. We are financially healthy, and we'll see what 2026 brings us.
Well, I get, speaking of the referendum, how much longer do we have on this current one before it has to be put back for renewal?
2023 plus 7, so if my math's correct, we're going to need to be talking about this in 2028 and 2030. New state legislation, new laws from the legislation said that you can only go out on certain years, so there's going to be some criteria with that. This town's going to have to talk about that. The town, the people, the community, because before the referendum was for schools, and now for Speedway schools, vote yes for spark plugs. And in the future, if this sunsets with current legislation, we'll have to share this with other kids that are leaving our town, going to other schools. But that's down the road, and things will change. Things change every day in the legislation. So we're going to sit tight. We are in a good spot for the next 4 years, 3 to 4 years, and then we're going to have conversations on how we want to handle this. I have a lot of ideas, but we'll have to sit down because what we know is things change in life. Our school budget's changed twice, major changes since I got in education, major changes every year. But this referendum talk, I think a lot of things we need to let it settle and see where we're at. We are not sharing our referendum with anyone right now because we got in right before this happened. Perfect timing.
And does that all have to do with the vouchers systems?
That's kind of a loaded question. Yes. Short answer is that referendum money for schools should go to any school. That's not quite how I know the residents of Speedway, how we feel about that, or do I? So the old days are over. And a lot of schools will be doing a lot of shifting and changing down the road. We're good where we're at right now.
There's still, Kyle, sorry, Dr. Trevely, no plans to keep our kids, Speedway kids, you have to be a resident to be in schools here, correct? Because I know there's different things changing now with other school districts and accepting other kids, but that's up to school board, correct?
That's up to school board, and
Yeah.
we're a closed boundary. We have been since 1928 because everybody used to be that way.
Yes.
So as a closed boundary, you have to have legal residence to attend our school. And that's a whole nother chapter for another day. But legal residency means that you have a legal guardian or parent with their head of the kid, putting the head of a kid on a pillow in Speedway.
Yes.
With that parent legal guardian. That's
Yeah.
called legal residency.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people that want in. Our administration
yeah.
fights that every single day. Why wouldn't you? We have
Yeah.
great results. We also have a lot of kids that don't go to our schools, that go other places. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And if that's their choice to go to a school, that's their choice. But we have a pretty good product, not a product, but a school system. We've had it for many, many years and decades before me.
How's your teacher retention? So we're
John Disney, and I need to go through some people right now. Thank our school board, Bill Harding, and thank you for reminding me that, Bill Harding, Adam Gonzalez, Tom Smith, Luke Bickle, and Laura DeGay, as they're just tremendous board members. Our assistant superintendent is John Disney, and he's been, I think, he's been in education for 45 years, so I don't know how that math works, but he's been around for a long, long time. He handles a lot of our HR. He onboards. That makes us special. We onboard, and he does it personally with every single employee. So teacher retention has been, we feel that they're not leaving necessarily because of maybe a town or a Speedway or a Speedway school thing, but if they get married or if they're moving for other work, we get that, or retirement. Right. So we feel good about it compared to other schools. Other schools, they're losing them left and right, and they will continue that way.
Right.
Most schools I've heard, they're talking about no raise or getting real creative. We're talking like very, very little. So we're still thinking we're going to hit maybe not the best we've ever done, but really give our teachers a little bit of a kick on a raise, as long as our numbers go up. Teachers are good, and we have some new administrators that they're doing tremendous work from, and we're only 2 weeks in, still early, but I saw newbie's principal today, and she's still smiling, so I'm happy about that, as I was out there with kindergartner kids, and I encourage anybody to go take a look at that sometime. They do great work there. But I feel good about where we are across the board. We've been the first time, guys, since 2020, we have a full cafeteria staff. I think we had 2 days of a full cafeteria staff custodian list. I mean, that's amazing. And then things happen and it doesn't go that way. But I'm proud where we are right now as a staff. And I think it's because of the town. It's because of you guys. It's because everybody, the fire, if he's behind me now, police, and all of our other departments that talked before you. I really believe we're a team effort to get this done.
Yeah.
What's consisting of the special instructions versus regular instruction?
So go ahead.
Yeah.
So school corporations have regular instruction, and that's what I think people think of school, whatnot. But we have students that come in with special needs. And when special needs kids come into our building, they're required through IEPs and a lot of specialized consultants and other types of services. So as that number goes up, we have to then make sure that we take care of those kids, and because that's what you do in public education, all kids. If they live here, we take care of them. And that number has grown dramatically since I've been here in 2014. But especially since COVID time 2020. So it's one of those deals, if they live here, we educate them. And if they have an IEP or whatever that may be, special needs that they need those services, we provide for that.
Okay.
Kyle, we have one last round of bonds that we're issuing, is that right?
That's correct.
And do we know when we're planning to close on those?
In the end of October, I have that upstairs. I can shoot that exact date for you. It's on our timeline. Our financial team of Vice Miller, Stiefel, and Policy Analytics, we're having a building corporation meeting tomorrow, I think. I know it's tomorrow here in here. So we'll close. They'll go ahead and get those final signatures. We went out for 25 of the 32 million, and we're closing on the last 6 or so that we'll have.
Okay.
We did pretty well in those two. We did a strategy on that to break them up through our team. So we feel like we'll make a little extra the way we did it, we'll make extra versus if we did it all at once.
And I suppose since we're closing in October instead of December, we've got a much better feel for what the tax rate impact will be.
How'd I do?
Fantastic, as always. You have 6 minutes left if you would just like to sit there and look at us.
Hey, in 1982. Don't do that to me. Well, thank you. I'll yield the rest of my time.
Thanks, Kyle. All right. Never get him to leave. He's going to just hang around forever.
Little flyers.
So fire department, we're on the downslide now. We're on the backside here.
Definitely. You guys ready? You don't need
Yeah,
to
come on up, yeah.
way ahead of schedule, so.
So as we've been doing, I'll kind of summarize the PowerPoint slides, and then our chief and deputy chief can answer any questions that you might have. So Brian, if we could show the PowerPoint. Thank you. I'll put my glasses on. So once again, very similar to the police department, the fire department also has a portion of their budget that is taken out of that public safety lit. It is listed down at the bottom in bold text. So roughly $1,116,645 of their proposed 2026 budget comes from that public safety lit. The rest of it comes from the general fund. So proposed 2026 budget is $6,501,511. That's a 15.7% increase, or $613,461. I've also shown a breakdown of those increases at the bottom. Benefits, salaries, and wages make up about 95% of that increase, actually a little higher than that. Reduction in some fire gear that they're not doing as opposed to previous years, and then just some operational, I think that's probably repairs and
5% on repairs and
other
maintenance.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, as you know, we do have 2 firehouses, and we have to maintain and upkeep and clean carpets and replace things,
We
et cetera.
routinely see 5% increases every year, so that's
Yeah,
where that number
yeah.
came from, so.
So once again, you have to add their budget, that $6.5 million general fund number, to that public safety lit number to get their full budget impact, so about $7.6 million.
I think,
No.
I think the
That's already
6.5
added.
already has.
That's already
I
added.
apologize.
Yep, that's already added.
I think in the police, it was not
Split out,
added.
yeah.
I'm not sure why we did that. So
Yeah, that's our total budget there.
mistake number one, so. somebody's-
And I wanted to let you guys know, I'm more than happy to piggyback and answer questions, but I've kind of asked Chris to do that, just kind of mentoring him into this process, and he's done the yeoman amount of work on this budget, so he's going to be able to answer questions, and I'm trying to prepare the next people. So I'm not making any announcements, but you may not be in this process next year, so.
So I've listed their large, overtime. As you know, we did discuss overtime earlier this year. We've had a glut of injuries and retirements and other people moving on to other departments, which caused overtime, the need to bring in people off of other shifts to cover shifts. So in that discussion, as well as in discussions, because we have increased pay, anytime you do that, your overtime rate's going to go up. So we did include $30,000 increase in that overtime budget. And then the other big item, I think, is the payment number 3 of 4 for the brand-new engine that we took control of late last year, right?
Yes.
And in the amount of $239,859. As we've had discussions, and the council already gave approval to order the ladder truck, we're trying desperately to make those not overlap so that we have a large, cost in one year. So this works out well for when we potentially will, if we do any financing or any type of thing like that for that ladder truck. Did mention earlier that we might pay a portion or all of that in cash, just depends on the market and the rates and things that are going on. But that ladder truck is in line to be built.
We should have a 2-year break.
Yeah.
Without having a
Right.
payment. But yes,
I think we had talked about 3 to 4 years before it's once ordered.
it's a 48 to 50
Yeah.
month process to get the ladder truck delivered, so.
So I think that's always something we need to plan for, because having 2 large pieces of equipment being paid at the same time is a challenge. So appreciate us working with the chiefs and Philip to identify those savings. Also, accomplishments and budgets, or I'm sorry, goals are in the next couple of slides as well. But that's really all that I got. As you know, we did negotiate a 2-year contract with the firefighters and the police officers. Year number 1 was this year, 2025. I know that wasn't adopted till March and April. So we will be negotiating the new contract starting next March, give or take, and we'll have that new contract. I would love to have a 3-year contract, but that just means we don't have to do the negotiation as often.
Right.
But it can be a challenge with the revenue uncertainty that we do have. We'll have to monitor that, and I think the council has done a good job of, once again, trying to compensate our folks, keeping them, but also taking care of our taxpayers and making sure we're not over-committing or overspending. So chiefs, I don't know if you have anything else that you want to, or if there are any questions for, I'm sure we do have some questions, so.
Yeah. Well, do you guys have anything to add before we start barraging?
Hit questions, that way we don't, you know what I mean?
All right. Well, I'll ask you guys the same question I asked Chief Upchurch. As it, we're talking about the next round of negotiations, and this last time IFD was in contract negotiation with their union and the city county council. Do we see any other municipalities around us that are potentially going to be in that same situation that we're potentially have to factor in? I'll pick on Fishers, that they're going to be in contract negotiation that could potentially factor into our negotiations.
I don't have that information off the top of my head. I would have to look and see when their contracts are up. I know that Wayne Township is talking about consolidation. I'm sure you probably heard about that, but I think that's another year and a half away anyway. Pike Township, I think they just signed theirs, I think. So
we're more familiar with Marion County. Pike, Wayne, and IFD and Speedway, and Decatur, all did contracts this year. Now, Downtown's was 4 years. Wayne's was a 4-year contract. Fishers, I know, is waiting. They did a 1-year contract. I only know that because they're soon going to be the 3rd or 4th largest city in the state. They're going to surpass Carmel. I think Indianapolis, Evansville, and Fort Wayne are the only ones that'll be larger than Fishers. So they're kind of waiting to see how that infrastructure has to work. But we're familiar with Marion County, and they all have extended contracts.
Okay.
Chief, what you're talking about Fishers and Westfield and all those cities and towns out there in Hamilton County, Boone County. Are they purchasing their equipment the same way that we do? I mean, are they using the same process to get the right equipment for their manpower?
They have a spec committee just the same as we do. They put them together just like we did. And as far as how they finance purchase, I'm not aware of that. Are you? I'm not sure how if they finance it or what.
I know that IFD just, of course, they're a tough one to compare to. IFD just took delivery on 10 apparatus, and they bought it.
Ladder trucks?
No, not ladders, but 10 apparatus.
2 or 3 ladders.
Everything's 750 or more.
Yeah.
It's just a whole nother level. I mean, it's with what they deal with. But yeah, they're in line for 10.
And they're bonding.
So
they're doing bonds, which I like the fact that we pay. I mean, I know we have to finance, but I think it was Monty that got us in the habit of not putting it on a bond and paying over a 3 or 4 year period to keep the bond rating and those sorts of things stronger. So, pay as you go.
I'm just wondering if we could leverage these purchases with, Marion County, all our extended counties.
We already
together
do that.
Yeah.
We already do that.
in order to get the best price
Correct.
possible.
So the manufacturers will give specs on spec apparatus, and then is it Sourcewell? Philip?
Yeah.
All Marion County departments use the Sourcewell product, which means we bid off of, IFD always has the best bid. When you buy 10, you're going to get a better price. We get to buy off of their price.
we get to do that with SCBA and
Right.
different things. We can do that. So
So what is the estimated life of, we'll say, a ladder truck? What are
Well-
you seeing, what are you seeing in the,
Our reserve right now is a 2003. So, I mean, we take care of our stuff. We always have. So, you know, it's getting to the end of its life for us in a busier department. But 15 to 20 years is not unthinkable.
yeah.
So,
Well, it's good that we're taking care of, especially the pumpers and all that from that. And one other question too is, what's your manpower looking at? What are you looking at this year? You got any drops this year? Where are we at?
we're losing someone in September. He's going closer. He's lives around Bloomington. He's going back to Bloomington to be closer to home. We have an individual right now who is most likely going to pinch it off due to injuries in the next, what do you think, 2 months? Month and a half, 2 months. And then in the next 4 to 5 years, we have a few guys that are going to retire. So, but we have a certified hiring list right now. What do we end up with? 15 people. And we have some quality candidates that are on that list.
I think the other thing for you guys to know is the individual that's first on our list, we just completed his pension perf.
Yep.
We completed his physical, his psych, so that we don't have to wait. As soon as the 15th goes, we're actually starting an academy that will partner with Plainfield, Brownsburg, and Wayne Township. We've already had several planning meetings. Starts in October, so we'll virtually have 2 or 3 weeks where that guy will not be on. But we still won't have him on the street, but he'll be in an academy. We'll be at full staffing. The individual that has several medical problems are not all job related. One is, but several other things have come up in that process. He was already scheduled to retire in February. And so probably sometime in the fall, he'll be medically pensioned. We sent him to a full review and second opinion physical with Public Safety Medical, which we've never done.
No.
And they've done a great job getting that formulated. Mike Levisic is still off with rotator cuff surgery. He's on light duty.
He should be back in October. And
If he
then-
gets full range of motion. If not, then that's 2 that we'll lose. So
Is that work-related injuries?
that was, yeah, that was, I think, on a training up on a roof where he reached out to grab somebody that had slipped tore his rotator cuff. So
And then we have Solomon, who, he's joined the military, and, which we applaud him for that. It's not easy on us, but we applaud him for that, and he's going to be back in October as well, so.
yeah, he finishes basic training and his other training, and then he'll be in the Guard. So there's nothing we can do about that. If 10 guys popped up and wanted to go, that's what I ask. I ask other departments, what do you do? Like, it's admirable, but man, it can really put a municipality in a bind.
Right.
Because you have to hold their spot. You can't replace them. So.
And nor should we. I mean.
No.
You shouldn't.
No,
Absolutely not.
No, absolutely not. No.
We'll deal with it.
Oh, yeah.
We do.
He had 5 years of military service, but he had been apart from service for a certain amount of time, so we had to redo basic. So, the one thing that I really appreciate is the process with Philip and Grant, has been, we had numbers early, and Grant would say, I want to encourage you guys to look at some things to cut and to do this. But the number that I'm kind of proudest of is our operational budget is going up less than $10,000. To me, that's impressive. The other numbers aren't definitely numbers that, you guys negotiate that and we try to help you with that. But that $9,450 to me is him doing a lot of work and us working together on suggestions of things that we need to, pull in the reins on and not spend. And Philip now having a line by line where he can give us through a certain date and the projection really helps with budgeting. So we've never really had that. It's very much appreciated.
See, in 2025, we had 1,800 runs
That's year-to-date.
year-to-date.
That was, we did this back, I think, May
Yeah,
May.
May or
June. So that was,
That's
Oh, yeah,
about
we'll-
half the year.
we'll do 36.
We'll have closer to
35.
4,000,
4,000 runs.
between 35 and 4,000.
When's your peak month? When do you have the most runs?
May.
May-
It's not even close.
May, but, I mean, percentage-wise, you only have to have about 30 extra runs to be a 10% increase. So May is definitely our biggest month,
Yeah,
but
we do 25 to 30 on race day. You know, normal day's 10, 8 to 10, so.
all for legitimate things.
Wow.
No drunkenness.
No drunk, no, nobody.
Again,
Usually the guys working at the Lions Club lot.
There you go.
Out of control.
He said it.
yeah.
But we do see upticks in, once cold weather hits, you see upticks in fires, because you're plugging in those space heaters for the first time, and, you know, we do see that.
Yeah.
I know you guys get some grant money from like Crystal Clean. What's that look like total from all the grants that you guys?
This
get
year,
in?
we got a grant for Marathon late '24. We didn't get the actual money until early '25, so I'm going to include this in this number. It was $2,500, and then we got another $4,000 for Marathon this year. So that's it for this year, is 6,600.
Yeah, and generally, we write those grants for things that are specific to dealing with those places. So we're limited on what we can spend it in, but it does save us in our general, maintenance and things like that. 2 prior years, when we replaced all the windows and doors at both stations, we were in the $80,000 on an energy-saving grant that really cost us like $4,000 each year.
Yeah.
And that's been huge.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was
our
great.
buildings really needed it, and it's been great.
The diesel exhaust systems, removal systems are in both stations. That was from a grant.
Yeah.
So
42 grand of that was from a grant, and that's all energy and cost and, the resilience grant, which I started and Chris finished up, was with a company out of Muncie. They did a great job on our buildings, so.
Yeah, if you let us know how many runs you've been doing in May, just go back the last 10 years, just May. I don't need the rest of them.
yeah,
We can get that number for you.
I don't know if I can go back 10 years. I think I can go
Our
back 7 or 8.
Our reporting system.
Our reporting system is different.
No, that's fine.
Since then,
5
so-
years, just make it 5.
Yeah, I can get you that. That's no problem.
Probably should do that for police too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get that information.
And I think also
Yeah.
over time for the month of May, for as far back, same 5 years if possible too.
That's an easy one, too. We actually earmarked that in the special column on our overtime budgets.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we'll get that emailed out.
Okay.
Any other questions for the
Do
chief?
you want that sent out to everyone? Everyone, okay.
That's
Yes,
fine,
please.
yeah.
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's no problem.
All right.
All right.
That's it?
Yeah, thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys.
Yeah, thank you.
So next up is our redevelopment commission, and I'm going to allow Kyle to do all of the talking.
Yeah.
There you go.
I look at him. He's
As
like,
first one here.
Look at him.
Sorry.
they're both the hot seat.
Our confidence.
Whatever you need.
Sit in the hot one there.
You got this, gosh.
Thanks.
But before he gets started, I do want to, I attended our IMPO, Indianapolis Metropolitan Planning Organization Policy Committee meeting today. And if you remember, we applied for a bike and pedestrian plan from the local planning grant fund. The SRC also applied for a corridor study for 16th Street. We have found out today that they received their 16th Street corridor study in the amount of $100,000. Your match is $25,000.
Yeah.
So we will need to probably account for that in the 2026 budget.
Yes.
So we may need to amend this a little bit because they'll do the selection process. We'll have input in that. They'll hold the contract and that won't start until January.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So anyway, that's some good news.
Yes,
That's some good
absolutely.
news.
Absolutely. We're
And
excited.
there were 6 applications. We were the 6th for the other one that was not funded. They were short about 75,000, so they didn't, and I didn't think we could come up with the extra 75,000 at this point, so. All right, Kyle, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm not kidding.
Oh,
I can help.
oh, geez, thank you.
All right, Brian, if we could do the PowerPoint slide. So just the same as the rest, we've got along the top, their proposed budget for 2026 is $345,893, which is a 6.23% decrease. Kyle got me started. Or $22,000 reduction. Remember, this fund is not TIF dollars. This is their operating fund. So these funds come from agreements that they have with various entities that utilize their parking lots, parking leases with IMS, rent for some of the properties that they own, as well as when they sell property, those funds come back into this fund to pay salaries, benefits, and expenses. So Kyle has listed here all of the different budget adjustments. Many of them are very small. I think he did a great job of identifying those. I don't know that I'm going to go through each and every one of those. Yeah. I think the important thing is that he did work hard to try to keep the budget in reason, and I thought did a really good job. I do want to point out a couple of things. So we've got things like insurance that are going to go up, official bonds and security are going to go up a little bit. Repairs and maintenance, there's that bugaboo. He's increased some dollars. We do repair and maintain, SRC does the parking lots, the gate arms. I believe since we've installed those gates, they've been hit at least once or twice each per year. I think that was something we understood, but to replace that gate arm, $800 to $1,200, it's not cheap.
Which one is taking the hit, USAC?
They're all getting hit.
Yeah.
The 16th Street has been hit before, not this year, but the USAC building has been hit twice that I'm aware of since we installed it. And we knew that would happen.
Right.
It's just a nature of the beast. But I think having those, protecting those lots and making sure people aren't squatting or parking there without a need or permission, I think is an important thing. So a lot of those increases are detailed there, but overall they did reduce their budget. Now, we don't put together budgets for the TIF districts. Those kind of mainly focus on our bond payments. As you know, we do have several bonds in those. I think that all of the TIF districts are starting to do well. We do have a guarantee agreement on the downtown or Main Street TIF, where a developer is paying any shortfall in those revenues. And I believe this year, for the first time, our Founder Square bond will kind of pay for itself. I think it might be a little less, but it's getting very close. Once the hotel is fully assessed, I think that will change. As you know, they do typically a partial assessment during construction, and then once it's fully done, they'll do a full assessment. My guess is that will be I think this year. But we've had the school has been built. So those things will generate more dollars for those TIF districts and make them solvent. And that's typically what happens. That one is a little special because it was during COVID. And it was anticipated to be opened quicker and built quicker, and it just took a lot longer. So Kyle, I don't know if you have anything else that you want to specifically call out or identify.
No, I don't think you did a great job. Thank you.
Now, just to clarify, these reductions are due to going through cutting things out versus a reduction in revenue? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
so typically like prior year expenses, and then I looked at the, what was budgeted, and I tried to go back a couple of years, and it just didn't seem to make sense in some of those to have such high amounts still continue to roll over. So a lot of that was deducted on what I thought was a more realistic number on a year-over-year basis.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I do think a portion of those savings has been, Kyle is a younger employee. We did not pay him as much typically as the other directors because they had more he's doing a fantastic job and will ultimately gain more salary over the years. But I think that was a kind of a big portion of those savings.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but
It definitely was.
that's a hard one to say. We got Kyle for less, But we do appreciate his efforts, and he's done a great job in his 3 months now, going on 4.
3 months, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Good market value. That's
Right, there you go.
ROI,
You're getting your name out there.
Yeah.
trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle, I just not really a question, just more feedback. I feel like a lot of your line items, you really went through them and noticed, okay, we don't need this much in the budget, so I appreciate you making those, adjustments and not just keeping it going, that's fine. But I do appreciate, I feel like the time you put into this, you can see that from your notes. I appreciate that on the side that you.
Yeah, and
that you did
thanks
that.
to Philip for getting me in bucks and.
Yeah.
That system a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would just let the council know as well that what you're seeing there in the detail-oriented approach that Kyle's taken is reflected in other aspects of his financial analysis. So I'm really encouraged by how he's delved into that on the TIF side as well, and the work that he's been doing with our financial advisor to really delve in and take a good look at what we can expect over years to come with those different TIF balances as well. So I think what you're seeing here is reflective of other work he's doing as well.
Yeah, I'd agree.
No, it's good to see that you've got several items on, far as the goals for 2026. Main Street, that's in need of updating, to say the least. A lot of things have settled. But completion of the roundabout, I think will add a lot to that corner that needs it from that standpoint, given
Absolutely.
the fact that we have Will Shaw still sitting there. Then I wanted to see what your ideas were on Mickley, 16th and Mickley there.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough site. There's no infrastructure at that site, so estimates back from 2022 when we originally did that was around 2.5 to 2.6 million. I think we can expect would probably be closer to 3. So whatever can go there, it's going to be a pretty big cost. We're getting ready to send out an RFP, hopefully by end of month, to see what we can get back. I know the due diligence reports have had 8, 9, 10, or 11 units, housing units to be put in there. It'd be interesting to see what comes back through that RFP, if that's still feasible or not. But right now, I do think residential units is kind of what we're going to try and put in at that site.
Okay. I definitely, did you look and see how much it would be just to, clear out all the underbrush and, at least see what's there and give a view from, because it's hard to even get in there. It was like a dump site, it's a lot of concrete pieces and everything in there.
Yeah.
From that standpoint.
Yeah, so we do have I just sent out to get a couple quotes for a tree survey. So that'll help us identify heritage trees and all that. So after we get that and we can geolocate exactly which trees are where, we can start talking about trying to cut some of that brush back. We are going to also send out the survey and start to mark the north side of the lot that comes up to Cadillac. I think it's Cadillac.
Yeah.
Because we have been told some of that is starting to come over into residential areas. Once we get that staked, I've been talking with Rob and street departments. They have no problem going out there to try and help clear that back more to where our property line is. There is going to be some poison ivy and stuff that they'll also treat. So yeah, it's in the works, but so we do have a lot going on at that site in the next couple of months.
Yeah, give the robotic mower
put that
a
on.
good challenge. Turn it loose, just turn it loose.
We're going to need new blades and stuff after that. I walked the site a couple of weeks ago, and I would not take a mower through there.
Poison ivy's nasty.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Do you see any other, what other opportunities around town do you think that would be next in line after that?
Yeah, we got 5630 Crawfordsville that we hope to get redeveloped here. And then 1200 building would be nice off Main Street. And then start to work with the SRC and some long-term other redevelopment areas that could benefit the town. Right now, really just concerned in getting the SRC properties that we have off our books and start to get redeveloped. The 16th and Lyndhurst, where the old City Hall was, I think will be another great site. We do have that TIF that was completed 2024, I believe.
End of last year.
End of last year, thank you. So that'll be exciting to also try and see what we can try and get there.
And that corridor study, 16th Street goes right through that TIF district and near former town hall property. So there's some definite opportunities that can be identified in that, and try to understand what infrastructure costs will be needed over the next 3 to 5 years as we develop that.
Do you think we could be able to move the well, or is that the well that's there existing and over to the junior high?
I mean, as you know, we've hired that company. They have dug those test wells. They're still in the process of allowing them to charge and understand what the water situation is there, the water table, the quality. We should know all of that information by mid-September, and then we can decide, do we build 2 wells there or just 1? And that would be to relocate one of the wells there on that former town hall property.
Yeah.
So once we understand those, whether the water's good or not, then we'll make that decision.
Right.
Because each of those wells will cost about $75,000 to build. And that's something we put into the budget, and that's a priority, that you can never have too many wells, and you can never have too many good producing wells.
I didn't see it. Does that main go along the railroad track? That circles down to the 16th Street, as far as from the...
You mean the B&O?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a water main that we have that goes...
All along it?
I don't know if it goes all along it, but it's a good portion of it.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions for Kyle? He really has been doing a great job. I tell him, I think, every day. I think I'm telling him that every day, so he keeps coming back.
So he stays.
But no, we appreciate his hard work, and I think Philip's comments are on target. He's rolled his sleeves up, dove in. I've had a couple of other directors who maybe did not do it to that level, and I've appreciated that.
Yeah.
So,
We know where he lives.
thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you,
Thanks,
Kyle.
Appreciate it.
All right, our final this evening is the Cable Commission. Brian Pierce, our station manager, and a couple of board members in attendance, so appreciate you guys coming out.
No problem.
So I'll do the same rigmarole, and then you guys can jump in.
All right.
So the budget numbers there at the top, the proposed 26 budget is $237,061, 3.3% increase. A majority of that is pay and benefits increases. They've kept, for the most part, equipment in line with what is in the past. They've reduced some areas to be able to buy some other things that are listed there. They've done a good job also working. I've mentioned this. We've trying to get those sponsorships. Brian, when I'm done talking, if you could talk about kind of the status of that, but they have been doing work for private companies. I know they've done photographs for a couple of companies now, right?
Yeah.
So still photographs for like badges or websites, but they also continue to try to advertise their services because they do a great job putting video content together and really can be a cost-effective way to do some of that marketing. And I wish our local businesses would take advantage of that more. I think it gives them a valuable benefit and then helps us to get those extra dollars needed to buy new equipment and continue to upkeep. I appreciate Brian and Bill both attended. I can't remember the name of the conference.
NAB, National Association of Broadcasters annual show in April.
Yep, that was earlier this year. Once again, trying to get out there and understand how they compare to others and what others are doing and new ideas, and I think they've brought some wealth of knowledge and information back, so I think that was a good investment. Don't know that we're going to do that every year, but I definitely think it was a good investment and probably will be an every 2 or 3 year type of arrangement. So I also wanted to point out they've helped the council specifically with some technology upgrades in the Motegi room, and they obviously run all of our meetings. New laws require for everything to be streamed that's held in this room, and that's why we're streaming and videoing our budget hearings this evening, so appreciate them staying on top of that. Brian did a great job of calling the attorney, and I didn't necessarily have to be involved other than have a conversation, and I've appreciated that very much. So appreciate what they do. The final comment I want to make is, as you know, that revenue continues to degrade. We fund them a majority from those revenues from Comcast and cable, but as people go away from that, that's, I think, going to be a continual concern over the years. That's why sponsorship is such an important concept in selling those services as well, and they've taken that to heart and are trying to do that. So.
Yeah. Do you have access to a drone?
Yes, we do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we have a drone. We bought a drone a year or two ago.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they do a lot of our videos include that drone footage because it's so striking to see a lot of those things from the
It's pretty awesome.
100 feet up.
We really like the drone, so.
That's good to hear.
If you remember, one of the greatest things they did, 2 things really, actually, the gateway sign. You guys did kind of a, I don't know what you call that, but it was a progressive construction type.
Yeah.
And then you did that also for the footbridge over the B&O.
Yep.
And that was really cool. Those kind of things I think are cutting edge, and they've done a great job of, because that provides us with visual information that our residents can see and consume rather than just hear us talk about it at a cable commission meeting or a town council meeting. So.
And we're currently trying to wrap up a piece about the stadium as well, so I'm hoping to have that done tomorrow or later tonight, depending on how late I stay. So.
That's awesome.
So I do want to, Grant said that most of it was in the personal services, all of the increases in the personal services. We're not increasing anything beyond there. We are moving some things around. I was informed by Philip that we should be pulling some things from capital outlays, and was not aware that we had a capital outlays appropriation. So we rearranged some things to make sure we have funds in the capital outlays. And that was just making it so that it's easier to do that. We've tried to streamline a little bit of a couple of the accounts, so things are coming from more understandable sources and things like that. I know we talked a little bit about the highlights. As far as sponsorship, as of right now, we have brought in $4,500 in sponsorship, $2,300 from our production for hire services. We are doing something for 2020 eye physicians in September. The Wilshaw Apartments are talking about having us come out and do something as well. And there's a potential of doing headshots and candids for Bradley Financial as well for them. We are finalizing a sponsorship deal with Lindy. They are wanting to do $5,000 to $6,000 in sponsorship. In return, they wanted us to use that to buy replay equipment for our live production of sports equipment, of sports stuff, which we are doing 19 events this fall, 21 basketball games in the winter. So all those sponsorships are helping to build that, teaching the kids in the media class about broadcast media. We've been crazy busy. So on pace to create
Talk
over
about the
140
media
pieces.
class, because I think this is pretty cool.
So an idea came up about a year and a half ago or so to do a broadcasting club at the high school. We kind of talked it over with JP Claiborne at the high school. He was like, you know what, let me talk to Derek Dorman. Derek asked if we could actually come in and teach his media class, which does newspaper and yearbook broadcast media. So we've gone in 4 times so far this month. We're going in again tomorrow. We've talked about the whole production process from beginning to end, cameras, and showing them how video cameras and still cameras kind of have somewhat of the same language and help them with that in composition. Lighting, audio. Tomorrow we're going in and they're going to have to set up cameras, lights, mics, and conduct an interview. And we're going to be there as help or to be the ones being interviewed. One of us may be a difficult interview. And then I think we're going to go in next week, 2 days next week, to talk about how our live set up, and then also talk post-production with them. Starting in September, we probably won't go twice a week like we have been going, but cut it back to maybe twice a month. But those kids are also signing up to volunteer to run our cameras for some of our sporting events that we're doing. So trying to get them some real-world experience as well.
Yeah, I love that.
So,
Very cool.
any questions?
Any questions for Brian? And
Just a statement, I appreciate what you guys do for the town. I mean, just having that visual record, 30, 40, 50, 100 years from now, as we're doing these changes, I mean, it's going to be worth its weight in gold.
Appreciate that.
What are you doing for the centennial? I know you're started on that.
Bill is starting to, he's a big history buff, so he's starting to go through the whole, I think it was the 50-year book that was out, the Blue book.
Right.
And try to come up with ideas. But we will definitely do something. What? I'm not sure yet, but we'll put together something for sure. So we're still working on the details of what we want to do.
Big changes from this place to Lyndhurst, in the old firehouse. I mean, night and day.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here right now. I mean,
yeah,
that's,
hopefully we'll be here for the next 100 years. Right?
we won't know about it.
We've been here 4.5 so far. So.
Maybe just share a little bit more. I know you talk about your sponsorships, but just what you're doing, like with the football stadium and partnering with businesses, a little bit more about that, and maybe just so that businesses know what options are out there too.
So we had multiple sponsorship levels that we are offering out that include a graphic at the end of all of our non-governmental programming, includes a read during our sporting events, as well as a mention at the end of the sporting events that includes a tagline. For our higher sponsorship levels, we've offered the creation of a 30-second spot. So far, nobody has taken us up on that, but that's okay. I'm trying to think of what else is on that 30, on the highest level. But it's getting them out there and getting their name out there as much as we possibly can. With the games, we are hiring a play-by-play guy for the football games this year. He is actually, the first game we have is against Northview, and he used to do the play-by-play for Northview, so he was going to come anyway. And his family he has ties in Speedway. His grandmother still lives here. His mom grew up here, so nice little tie in there too. So with the stadium, we will have 3 cameras up on top of the press box. We've got to run some cables to make sure we get the signal to where we're going to be positioned. But the idea is also that they're going to take our feed for the video board. And my understanding as of, what day was that? Monday, is that the feed from the video board will also be in the hospitality room. So our feed will possibly be going in there as well. We're going to stream them to YouTube and Facebook, and our next Friday going to test. We think we have a way to have it air live on our actual television station as well, by bringing up Facebook full screen on a computer we have back there and running that through our switcher. So we're trying to get a little bit of all that in there. We're also going to be contacting opposing schools' sponsors to see if they would like to buy a read during the game, because that way we can just get a little bit more income from that. So lots that we're trying to do with it and make it a very profitable item instead of just
Very expensive item. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great.
Yeah, do you have any of the media students coming out and helping you, or?
Yeah, we have a sign-up sheet that's currently in their classroom. We've had multiple come up and ask, what days might work best, and so tomorrow I'm going to take a look at that and put together a schedule based on our cable commission volunteers and them to figure out who's going to run camera, who's going to do potentially graphics, and if we can get enough volunteers and enough kids interested, we may add in a sideline reporter. If we can continue to grow, I'd like to add, more cameras to those productions and just make them as best as we possibly can, so.
Yeah, you can send some feeds to Fox.
Well, if we get, the other thing is, if the replay system that we are wanting to get, if we can get that rolling, our plan is to the next day start posting highlights from each of the sporting events onto our Instagram and Facebook page, try to help build our audience.
Yeah.
And hopefully by building that audience, if there's a huge play, we might even get it to ESPN, try to get on the top 10.
Yeah.
You know, those sorts of things, and just to get more recognition for those kids and the coaches
Yeah.
and the band and the.
Yeah, it's nice you got soccer playing on the field, and a lot of kids will be out there, definitely be utilized. You know, a lot of parents would love to see their kids out there in the field.
Grandparents, aunts,
Yeah.
uncles.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, we are going to do 4 boys' games on soccer, 4 girls' games on soccer, and I
Fantastic.
believe 5 volleyball games. 2 of those games for the volleyball will be using the Huddle camera system that they have already there and just adding our graphics to that, but then we'll do 3 more that are much higher produced than that, so.
Neat.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And thus, we conclude our 2026 initial budget presentation to the council. As you know, September the 8th will be the proposed first reading, so I think we'll have a couple of items on our administrative agenda on Monday evening to discuss, and then any changes that we'll need to make prior to that budget so we can get that finalized and get that ready to go.
Yeah, I know we mentioned this last night, but for Jason's benefit, with the challenges that we're facing, and we've got some serious discussion on looking at that to potentially, hopefully reduce that shortage gap.
Yeah.
So, all right, anything else? All right, it is 7:21, and we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.